As Halloween comes closer, in the spirit of Halloween, I wanted to talk to you guys about something a little bit different today. Now, I know that there are those of you out there that might believe in ghosts and demons and hauntings and things like that, and also there are those of you that might not. But whether or not those things are real, I'm actually here to talk about something that is real, that I've actually experienced myself along with some of my friends. The phenomenon I want to talk to you about is called sleep paralysis, also known as the hag phenomena or scissor lock. In medical terminology, sleep paralysis is basically when your brain wakes up from sleeping but your body continues to sleep. This leaves the person fully conscious but completely paralyzed. This in itself is pretty frightening, but sleep paralysis is often accompanied by terrifying and vivid hallucinations. And what's even worse is that these hallucinations actually appear when you're awake and your eyes are open, with your body completely unable to move. And what's even more frightening is that these episodes are often accompanied by a feeling of the inability to breathe and as if someone were sitting on your chest or being drowned. And the hallucinations that usually come along with that have been described as figures sitting on people's chests or looming figures standing off in corners. Now, I've actually experienced this myself, and so have a lot of other people I've talked to. Some of these experiences range from mild to extremely disturbing. Now what I've done is I've attempted to recreate their experiences to show you what they saw. The description and recreation of these events are real and factual, but please just remember, they're just hallucinations. It was August 20th, 2003, a Wednesday. I had been extremely busy the whole day packing for school, which started the next day. I remember falling asleep sometime around 1 o'clock in the morning. At the time, I had no bed and slept on the floor in a sleeping bag. At around 3 o'clock, I suddenly felt my body suddenly jerk awake, but I could not move my arms or legs. My eyes opened in panic only to see a dark figure sitting directly on my chest. I felt myself being suffocated as I started sinking into the middle of the floor. The dark figure breathing on me the whole time. This second experience is my brother's, and it's just as eerie, but don't worry, there are no hallucinations in this one. He never opened his eyes. It was early morning, and he felt his body lifted up from where he was lying. Suddenly, he felt his body being forced to spin in extremely fast circles, but he kept his eyes shut out of fear of what he might see if he had opened them. On January 27th, 2003, my brother and I were sharing a room because relatives were over. He was lying to my right, on his side, facing me. He awoke around 6 a.m. and saw a girl come up beside his bed in between us. She had her hands over her face, and the eerie thing was he also felt her hands on his face at the same time. He could see me behind her, still asleep, and he tried to yell, but no sound came out of his mouth. And the eeriest part was, he heard screaming the entire time this was happening. Lastly, on July 15th, 2002, at approximately 3 a.m. in the morning, my friend was awoken by a heavy feeling standing on top of her. She opened her eyes to see a little baby standing on top of her with its back facing her, jumping up and down lightly. Her arms were crossed and she could not move. Out of fear, she closed her eyes tightly and began to mouth the Lord's Prayer. And that's when the baby turned around and began saying it with her. If you or anyone you know has experienced something like this before, I want you to leave me a video response or a comment below telling me about the story. And just remember, these are just hallucinations, nothing more. Happy Halloween.